Hi, welcome to Oranjoose's XAI and KINZU comfort review. The reason for a review specifically about comfort is that this is the most important factor in purchasing a mouse. That is, of course, if the mouse has a sensor of acceptable quality. I do believe both of these mouses meet gaming standards as far as tracking goes. I know some of you may disagree, but I believe that. However, I can't be certain of that yet for the XAI, because the firmware update to 1.4.2 failed for me, and now the mouse is completely unusable, bricked. It won't even be recognized in the device manager. I hear this is a fairly common problem with the XAI, so please take that into consideration. Before we start, I have to mention a couple controls in this test. First of all, this mouse pad is the SteelSeries 9 HD, and my hand size from the base of my palm to the tip of my middle finger on the same hand is about 7.5 inches. Down to it. This here on the right is the SteelSeries XAI. Here on the left is the SteelSeries KINZU. The XAI is actually significantly larger than the KINZU. By numbers it may not seem like much, but it is quite a bit larger, which makes it much more of a palm mouse. And this one can just kind of slide around with just your fingers. The XAI, it feels like it fits really well in your hand, and not like other bigger mouses like Logitech, no offense, that feels more like your hand fits well in it. So this thing feels like you can grip it very easily, and the mouse goes exactly where your arm goes. It's great for if you're going to be moving your arm around a whole bunch. It just kind of slides right around with it. However, the KINZU gives you excellent control because it just fits really nicely in your fingers, and it's like dribbling a ball in soccer. It fits really nicely, and you can just toss it around the mouse pad really efficiently with just your fingers, if that's the type of player you are. So it being small could probably set a couple people off, but it's not like a laptop mouse where it's just like unbearable to even hold it. This thing is a nice size for just tossing around the mouse pad with just your fingers. And I feel it gives you excellent control. In fact, in my opinion, I like the feel of the KINZU better than the XAI simply because of that fact. So it really just depends on the type of gamer you are. The KINZU is also much lighter. Again, with the numbers, you probably can't really tell, but the XAI feels like it's really sturdy, like a brick. And the KINZU, it's like you're just kind of tossing around something as if it's just floating on air. Again, I prefer the KINZU for that type of feel, but the XAI is definitely a close second as far as the way I play. The next quick thing I want to talk about are the mouse feet. These are both the default mouse feet that come with the mouse. So you can always change that out and give yourself a different experience. But the KINZU's mouse feet make it a lot stickier. As you can see, it just goes from one place to the next and stops. For a lot of people, it'll feel like that'll give you a lot more precision. The XAI just kind of glides around. See? It just kind of floats around because I guess these feet are more like Teflon, and so it's a lot easier to glide with it. Also, the fact that it's a lot heavier makes it so that the momentum helps carry it. So if you're going to be using the XAI, you got to grip it really heavily, or else it's going to just fly away from you. Here we have the Microsoft Wheel Mouse Optical and the XAI. I have the Microsoft mouse out because not only is it a popular mouse in gaming, but it has the most comparable size to the XAI that I know of, and pretty much every PC gamer has at least felt this mouse before. They're very similar in feel. What I find is actually kind of interesting is that the wheel mouse optical is actually thinner than the XAI. So the XAI actually does feel a little bit bulkier. But speaking of bulky, it's definitely more solid. This mouse, the Microsoft mouse, feels more hollow. But it is definitely lighter as well. So basically the XAI is a kind of bulkier, more featured wheel mouse optical. The registration point for the click can go back as far as the base of this CPI toggle button right here, so you can actually press the button, the click buttons, closer to the base of the mouse. The wheel mouse optical kind of curves in. It's fatter at the bottom, then gets thinner up at the top. And while you can't notice it from here, the XAI has an indent so that you have a similar feel with your thumb, despite it being wider at the tip.